stability.
Well, for more, TRT World's editor-at-large Ahmed Aliolu joins me now live in the studio. Thanks for coming in. We've seen, these images of celebrations in Gaza, but others are, of course, saying this peace is still very precarious. How strong is this ceasefire, in your opinion?
I think it depends on the Israeli side now. In Gaza, Andrea, everybody is looking for a ceasefire. And before this kind of reckless measure, when Avigdor Lieberman, the defense minister of the Israeli occupation, decided to send that, would you like to call it assassination squad, kidnapping squad to the Gaza to ruin the ceasefire. Already there has been a ceasefire for 2 weeks where the Egyptians brokered this between Hamas and the Israeli side. Also the Qataris they put some cash into the Gaza Strip where the electricity developed from 4 hours to 16 hours. Everybody in Gaza was so happy. They were not after this kind of escalation. But this move, this violation of the Israelis, along with killing more than 200 peaceful protesters for more than 8 months, since the start of the March of Return. Nobody was speaking. It was only peaceful demonstration. But when the rockets started flying into Israel, everybody is speaking about it now. We are hearing that the defense minister of Israel is intending to quit or to resign, which is something indicates that the Israeli hawkish wing inside Israel is more into more violence, while Benjamin Netanyahu understands that this kind of violence will lead to another wave of violence that would eventually lead maybe to an all-out war that nobody is interested in. So I think it depends now on the Israeli side to decide that they're going to maintain this ceasefire or not.
Okay, Ahmed, I'm glad you're with me right now because we've actually just received reports that Israeli Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman has actually resigned, and he is saying now, upon his resignation, that this Gaza ceasefire was Israeli capitulation to terror. First of all, on his resignation, how much might not having his hardline conservative Israeli values as part of this dynamic here change things in the relationship between Gaza and Israel?
Look, Andrea, Avigdor Lieberman is the one who said once there are no innocent people in the Gaza Strip. And he was the one who is looking for an all-out war with the Gaza. He wants to eliminate what is called as the resistance or Hamas or whatever. On the other hand, you have Benjamin Netanyahu, who also empowered by the Saudi Crown Prince, by the coalition of the Arabs, by Donald Trump, Jared Kushner. Everybody of them is empowering him, giving him more room to do whatever he wants in the Gaza Strip. But on the other hand, you have a real demonstration, real protest on the ground in Gaza that embarrassed everybody. It was so peaceful for more than 8 months. None of the Israelis was injured. And then Avigdor Lieberman decided on one day that he wants to send or dispatch a killing squad to kill one of the leaders of Hamas. That blow things up. And it seems that Netanyahu was not aware of this, where he came back from Paris and he tried to follow up. And it seems now we have demonstrations inside Israel, in the settlements in Sderot yesterday, and they were not happy with this kind of ceasefire. Right. They felt that they were slapped on the face by the resistance in Gaza. They want to escalate. And it depends now whether Netanyahu is going to take this, because also you have to take in mind that this is going to jeopardize even Netanyahu's coalition with the withdrawal of Israel Baytuna, the party of Avigdor Lieberman. Netanyahu would find himself forced to bring forward the November election. That would jeopardize the whole political system in Israel.
I mean, Israel is, and I can't overstate this, Israel is a very divided country politically. So what do you foresee? It's a hard call to make, but what do you foresee the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu doing now that Avigdor Lieberman has resigned to replace him? Will he look for someone along the same hard line as Lieberman himself, or will he look for somebody that is perhaps more conciliatory?
He's definitely is going to look for somebody to replace him. But to be honest, now Netanyahu is in a big turmoil, and he doesn't have lots of options. The only option that he might find himself forced to do is to bring forward the election of November 2019 in order to regain the trust. And to be honest, the street in Israel, what we've been watching in the past few hours, that they're not happy of this ceasefire. They also question the whole defense system that Israel is spending billions of dollars, what's known as the Iron Dome, that was not able or did not succeed to intercept 300 missiles coming from the Gaza Strip. And on the other hand, you have the mediation of the Egyptians, you have the Qataris. So what the street in Israel is asking the politicians to look for peaceful kind of way to prevent these kind of rockets coming to Israel. But on the other hand, what they're doing, they're suffocating the enclave, the Gaza Strip, and they're not giving people options. They're also alienating Mahmoud Abbas, on the other hand, the Palestinian president. Well, the Palestinians, whether those who believe in the army, in the armed resistance, or those who believed in peaceful negotiations, find themselves completely disregarded and alienated by the Israeli side. The international community is not practicing too much pressure on them. So the only option for the people is to resist. And at the end of the day, this might escalate to this kind of violence we're seeing now.
Okay. Ahmed, we will leave it there for now. Thanks so much for sharing your insight. But just to recap, Israel's hard-line conservative defense minister, Avigdor Lieberman, has just resigned, as we can see there live in West Jerusalem.